All right, guys, checking out a Bluetti Power Station, AC200L, and unboxed. All right, without wasting your time in the unboxing, here's the AC200L, 2400 watt output, 2048 watt hour capacity. I have been doing some initial testing with this, and then I did a long-term test. I just want to do a quick recap on some of the specs, and then we'll get into some of the practical usage. So you have 4 outlets here, each of them capable of up to 120 volts. And then right here, you have your plug that you would use for like an RV or something like that. And then USB-C, a couple of USB-A's, another USB-C, and then you have your 12 volt outlet, and then this proprietary 48 volt outlet that I haven't seen any accessories for, so I don't really know if that's even getting used. I don't even see that coming out on any of the newer Bluettis. So those are the things there. This guy can charge with the AC or from the grid up to 2400 watts. And again, the total watt hours is 2000, and it can charge up to 2400 watts. It probably won't take like exactly an hour, but it will ramp up while it's in the middle of the state of charge, and then slow down at the beginning and then slow down at the very end. It's just like a battery safety thing. So it can charge super fast if you're charging it off at the grid and then just having it on standby for when you guys have an outage, and then up to 1200 watts of solar. This guy can be expandable with up to 2 extra batteries, which is really awesome. So that would take, depending on the battery that you get, that could take this up to around 8,000 watt hours off of this one unit. So those are kind of the quick specs. It doesn't have a charging pad up top, but I don't really think that's important. This is probably considered a medium-sized power station, and that is pretty much all that I really have to share about that. And now we'll just get into some practical use cases.
All right, sorry guys, I didn't catch the very beginning of this starting at 100%, but we're at 86% right now. So far, we've only ran a pot of coffee. It's about 8 cups of coffee. You'll see me plugging in my laptop there. I'm going to start charging up my laptop while I do some light work on the side. And then this is pretty much about half an hour into the test, starting right around 7:30. And you can see the pot of coffee there has already been made. I did turn it off to try to conserve energy, but I actually turned it back on because my wife hasn't got any coffee for her road trip to work yet. So I wanted to keep that nice and hot for her.
All right, 77%, just checking in. A few minutes past our first hour. We technically started at 7:33. It's now 8:40. We're gonna try to average that down just from 7:30 to 8:30 for the first hour. But we are looking at 77%. We had 8 cup pot of coffee, and I did leave it on for my wife to be able to get to, so that it stayed nice and hot. Otherwise, I would have turned it off immediately after making it. So that did take a lot of draw, probably close to 15%. And the fridge has been plugged in the whole time. And you see I got all these extension cords going. I'm trying to do a real world scenario and see how long I can get this to last. The microwave's plugged in, not doing anything, but it's plugged in. Got the fridge, it's got the orange wire that's plugged in. And then right here we have some light computer work going on. Got that charging. And this yellow cord is actually going to our bedroom, which is hooked up to monitor, security cameras, and our Wi-Fi router. And so in the case we have no power, but we're able to supply power to the Wi-Fi, given that the Wi-Fi is still operating correctly, we can still have Wi-Fi. Currently drawing 250 watts. The fridge is running. I can hear it in the background. I know that the Wi-Fi connectivity is only like 40 or 50 watts an hour, and then it seems to be like 60-ish watts that the laptop is drawing. So that's where we're at, just past our first hour. All right, 64%. We are at the 10 a.m. 2.5 hour mark. And one thing I just wanted to note is we were quickly testing solar input from a solar panel. I really wanted to wait until I had some different solar panels coming in. I was thinking about doing a few of the 100 to 200 watt rigid solar panels up on my metal roof temporarily for testing, but unfortunately they're not here right now, so we're just doing the foldable Renogy. But I will be disconnecting that so that we don't mess up our long-term test. And then if we get low enough at some point, I will be plugging into the grid to simulate using a gas generator. Realistically, if I had a gas generator, I would have that as an option. I just haven't decided which gas generator to go with. Anyways, we're gonna disconnect this. I just wanted to do a quick check-in and show that we do have some decent solar coming in for that Renogy solar panels. If I decided to go with panels, I'm honestly trying to figure out the numbers so I could do some solar and a gas generator alongside this power station to be able to back it up, so that way I just have more options. But everything costs money, so just trying to fit this within a budget. If you haven't seen it yet, I have done a review on the AC180P smaller power station, 1400 watt hours, not as big of an inverter, can only put out 1800 watts running continuously. So this I'm realistically comparing to that, but this is roughly double the costs. So just checking in. All right, checking in at the 3-hour mark. We're at 58% and still drawing. We've been using the microwave off and on. The coffee pot has only ran the one time. I've been charging the MacBook Pro and my daughter's tablet, and we still have the Wi-Fi and the security cameras hooked up. Basically everything's still hooked up. I don't have the solar connected. I've just kind of been spot checking it because I just want to know what kind of input we're getting. I'm gonna guess we're gonna make 7 hours today. When I did my initial testing and when it just ran the fridge, that was 28 hours. So all these extra things running off of it going all the way down to 6 hours, that is a huge difference. But honestly, a much more realistic expectation if you're planning on using all these things in a grid down or a power outage scenario. So very good to test your equipment. Hopefully this helps with deciding how large of a battery we need to go, or about how soon we're gonna need to recharge if you have a smaller unit as well. So just 3-hour check-in. All right, we are at the 8-hour marker. We have 29% left. Just about to hit 3:30, started at 7:30. That would make 8 hours. When we do decide to charge this up, I will be using the grid to simulate the generator supplying the power to the power station, and then we'll go from there. So as of right now, I think we're gonna get another 3 hours. Currently at 8 hours, that would put us at 12 hours. And compare that to running just the fridge in the initial test, that was 28 hours. And then now we're looking at 12. So, you know, a little bit less than half, but 12-hour window is still really good for it being used. Now, I can only imagine that if this was all plugged in overnight, no microwave, no fridge door being opened and closed, the coffee maker is not being used, that's going to last a lot longer. Basically, my goal is that we would not run the power station down to 0 while everybody is asleep. And then I would have to run the generator while everyone is asleep. So I want a big enough window from the last time that I charged it to be able to start charging it again when everyone is not being disturbed. All right, now for a final recap on the Bluetti AC200L here. Got it charged back up. I did charge it off of the grid power to simulate a generator, recharging it. It took about an hour and a half, starting from the 10%. And then in the testing, I had, just to recap, we had the Wi-Fi router, security cameras, full fridge running in all day. The microwave was running off and on. The coffee pot was ran once in this test, And we also had a laptop charging, some other smaller USB devices being charged. And I got I would say, pretty reliable 7 hours of use. Depending on how much more often you use the microwave or what appliances you plan on using on this, I would not recommend a space heater. That's just going to draw way too much power. Maybe even a conductive cooktop, also going to draw a lot of power. I didn't do it in this test. I just stuck with the microwave. So again, 7 hours. In the initial fridge only test, this got up to 28 hours. So if you're only running a fridge, a lot longer in the runtime, but then practical items being used in the home during a power outage, I got 7 hours out of it. And then I was able to recharge it in an hour and a half. And then realistically, if I were to recharge this before I go to bed, before everybody goes to bed, and not using the microwave, opening the fridge, not making a pot of coffee or charging any USB items, I'd be able to get through the night no problem before I needed to recharge. And then that is kind of my use case. I need to get the family through a power outage and then be able to recharge it and then keep the fridge running overnight before I needed to recharge. That is, again, if the power is down for 24 hours or longer, right? The idea is we want to get through an average power outage is probably 4 to 5 hours, and then the grid comes back on. But this can go a little bit longer if you need it to. I will say too that being the higher inverter capacity, 2400 watts, I did not have any issues with running the coffee pot and the microwave and the fridge at the same time, which is important because some of the smaller power stations, you're gonna have to kind of watch that where you have one high draw power item off or only one on at a time. I did not have to use the powerlifting mode that this power station does come with. I've had to use that on other power stations. I did not need to do that with this one, so that was good to know. Who is this for? This is a middle of the road and room for expandability. If you know you want more than 2,000 watt hours, but you can't quite get into the 4,000 watt hour units or the 3,600 watt hour units off the bat because of budget, I think that this is a really good option because then you can expand later down the road, right? You can get up to 8,000 watt hours. And then the 2,400 watt hour inverter that this comes with is pretty capable. And again, this is running essentials, right? This is not a whole home running it all at the same time. I don't even want to notice that the grid is down type of power station. There are power stations out there, but that's not this guy. This guy can plug into your home using the RV outlet. I'm not testing that. I don't even have that set up right now, but that is possible. And again, only running 120 volt appliances. You can do that if that's how you want to hook everything up. Or like what I did, a bunch of extension cords, because for me, that is what's realistic. This is going to come out during a grid down or a power outage situation, and I'm going to pull those extension cords and I'm going to plug in items I'm going to be using. If you're a little unsure about the smaller portable stations, that I would say a 1,000 watt hour battery would be considered a smaller one. Anything below that, not putting out 15 to 1,800 watts at least, I don't think you can realistically rely on those to be able to run appliances. For example, my microwave pulls roughly 1,500 watts to run. That's on the low end. Most microwaves are going to be 1,800, 2,000 plus. And so an 1,800 watt power station is going to struggle with that unless it has like a powerlifting mode like some of the Bluettis do and some of the EcoFlows do. So again, if you're getting into this and you wanted more than 2,000 but you can't afford it, this is expandable. So this is the middle of the road. You're not sure if 1,000 watt hours is going to be enough capacity. This has 2,000. There are some units that are smaller than this that you can expand. It starts with 1,000, 1,800 watt output inverter, and then you can expand those, but you cannot expand it as much as this one. So that's something to look into. And then for price, there's still a lot of deals going on with Bluetti and EcoFlow and Pecron and stuff like that. This does have the Bluetooth app. This does have Wi-Fi connectivity, so you can access the options on here and turn it off and on through Wi-Fi even if you're not at home. Again, if your Wi-Fi is running, and I did test this while running the Wi-Fi, and I was able to access the power station away from home because this was running the Wi-Fi while the grid was down during my testing. Again, test your equipment before you rely on it. I would recommend this unit on its own. And then if you're getting started and you're considering a smaller one, but you're unsure about the items you want to run, you really got to ask yourself, what am I going to run? What do I need to run? What can I live without? What can't I live without? And then go with that. You know, best case scenario, we could all get the really big unit that can put out 240 volts and it's got a huge battery, but that just costs a lot of money. And I just need something to get by for now. And then the potential to expand this later so that I can withstand a longer power outage in the future. I will say I do plan on having a gas generator to back this guy up. So if this guy does not have enough juice to get me through a power outage, I will then be able to recharge this with a gas generator. That is another thing to consider. Now, I'll get into that one in another video, but I think that these are best used like together, or even all three: solar panels, power station, and a gas generator. Having all three would be best case scenario, and then depending on how much you have of each of those items, it's just depending on how much you need. So I recommend this. I'm looking forward to testing out some other ones and then bringing you guys information. Let me know if I left something out that you were needing to know. If you have a question that I can answer for you, if you have a scenario that you would like me to run the power station in to see how long I can run those items or anything like that, please let me know in the comments. I'm just getting started with kind of doing some testing here, right? I got a solar panel there that I'm testing out. Cables, like what cables are you supposed to get? That's another video. The AC200L is only one of the few power stations I got. And here's just a little sneak peek. I got the AC180P right there. I have an EcoFlow River 3. So I'm trying to figure out what I need. And while I'm doing those tests, I figured I would just share the information that I'm finding with you guys to help you figure out what it is that you need. All right, thanks for watching. I appreciate it.